Good evening. Welcome to Kansas City Ballet's Dancer Chats. This is a Nutcracker themed chat this evening, and we are thrilled to have three dancers from the Kansas City Ballet, along with our wonderful guest moderators, Angela and John Walker. A little bit about Angela and John, I'd just like to share with us, our audiences. For Angela and John Walker, supporting and enjoying Kansas City Ballet is their passion and their privilege, they tell us. They are relatively new to Kansas City Ballet. They moved here from Washington, D.C. area back in 2015, and Angela has Kansas City roots. Her father was an Air Force fighter pilot at Richard Scobbauer Air Force Base in the 1960s, and her mother was a professional ice skater in Germany. Her mother also taught ice skating and ballet, and Angela and her parents and two brothers all danced with the Kansas City Civic Ballet. Angela joined the Air Force after high school and met John while they were both attending foreign language training. John had never seen a ballet until Angela took him to see Swan Lake during their first tour in Berlin, Germany, and they've been going to ballets ever since together. Angela and John are so involved with Kansas City Ballet and with the performing arts scene in Kansas City Ballet. And we want to let you know that Angela and John are both ballet and symphony subscribers. They are both involved in Kansas City Ballet's Guild and are members of the Bollinger Society. Angela is a KC Ballet board member and is a Kaufman Center usher. And we are thrilled that both Angela and John serve on the Kansas City Ballet Community Engagement Education Council and are this year's co-chairman of the Kansas City Ballet Guild's 2022 Nutcracker Ball. We are thrilled to welcome them this evening as our moderators. Welcome, Angela and John.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, April. And it is beyond a delight and a privilege to get to talk with these three wonderful dancers, Gavin Abercrombie, Naomi Tanioka, and Amanda DeVenuta. And we could spend the whole time tonight talking about their wonderful dancing, all the wonderful roles they have danced for us. But we're going to talk about Nutcracker and past, present, and future, right? So we have a list of questions that we would love to ask. And we hope it is a conversation, like April said, an informal chat. So we look forward to that. And for our audience members, welcome. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will work to get to them. Okay. So first question.
I'm excited. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. So can you tell us about the first Nutcracker you ever saw and the first Nutcracker you danced in? So Amanda, can you start with this?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I actually did not see Nutcracker. I performed it first. I did a random audition, I remember, at like some mall in my hometown for the Moscow Ballet, and I was a little angel.
Oh.
And then I started dancing at a smaller school near it, like about a half hour away from my home. And I was a Polly Chanel. And and then the first time I actually saw a real Nutcracker wasn't until I was a lot older, and it was Boston Ballet's Nutcracker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. How about you, Gavin?
So the first Nutcracker I saw was also the first Nutcracker I ended up being a part of. Not the same year, but sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
We have a guest.
We have a guest. Our puppy is also thrilled, but Nutcracker was a tradition in my family. We went every year, and my first time like consciously remembering seeing it, I was probably 9 years old. I told my mom after the show that I wanted to do that. I wanted to be in it, and I think this is a lot for a lot of same kids. That was the start of not just Nutcracker but ballet for me. So the next year I enrolled in ballet classes, and then this is from my small local studio. It's called Antelope Valley Ballet in Southern California. And that became my first Nutcracker. I was a party boy, stayed a party boy for years. So that was how I started.
Naomi.
So I started ballet in Japan, and in Japan we don't have tradition of Nutcracker like here. So like for competitions, the girls would do sugar plum variation. That was a very common thing. But Nutcracker, the whole Nutcracker as a production was kind of more foreign to me. And when I went to Canada for school, that's when I first saw their Nutcracker and how it's such a tradition in North America and how it's a ballet that everyone goes to see, even if you don't normally see other ballets. And that was a pretty big shock. But also, so and I was in the school and being a Clara for the Nutcracker for Royal Winnipeg Ballet was like the biggest deal. And I remember I never got to be Clara, but it was like every person that got picked just like was a celebrity in the school for the time. It was so that was my first experience.
Wonderful.
That's great. But here you are, getting ready, I believe, to dance Sugar Plum Fairy, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's pretty darn cool. Yes. Okay. Well, speaking of Nutcrackers, now we'd love to hear about your first time dancing in Devon Carney's wonderful Nutcracker, especially because it was a brand new choreography, brand new sets, brand new costumes. Amanda and Gavin, I think you were here for the premiere and in it. So maybe you could talk about that. And then Naomi, what it was like to come to this quite new Nutcracker and learn all the parts. So Gavin, do you want to start?
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I was actually a year or two after the premiere, but Amanda, I believe you were here for the premiere, correct?
Yeah.
So maybe you've got like the deeper insight on the actual first year than I do.
It was quite an experience. I mean, it's funny now, like seeing new dancers come into the company and they're like, oh, this Nutcracker is hard, or these are like long rehearsal days, but they have no clue what it was like to create this Nutcracker. Because there's so many elements, and like when you're learning choreography for the first time and you're like experimenting with steps, you have to do things over and over and over again to see what works and what doesn't. So actually my first year in the company, they had done Todd Bolander's Nutcracker. And then my second year was Devon creating this whole new, brand new magical Nutcracker. And the first year of his Nutcracker, I actually debuted as Sugar Plum, which was an honor. It was very scary, obviously, doing a brand new Nutcracker, learning like basically all of the parts and then debuting a big role like this. It was just really busy, really busy, but really fun. Like, and seeing how it's grown over the last 8 years, like a lot of things have like altered and changed to different dancers. And it's just kind of like morphed into this beautiful, more up-to-date production.
That's fascinating. All right. Now Gavin coming in second year.
I wasn't here right for the first year, but when I first started doing this Nutcracker, I was in the second company here. So I started with doing roles where I was reindeer, mouse, Mama G, which in this version is like a giant puppet, huge puppet you have on yourself. And that was almost solely what I was doing. I learned, I got to do a couple of shows of side Russian. And there's a lion, there's a dragon in Chinese that I got to do. But I started with those roles. And then as I've spent more and more time here, I've been making my way learning like all of the roles in the ballet, from Nut Prince to, which is this picture, Nut Prince, and then Snow King and Cavalier. Last year was my Cavalier debut. So I mean, I love this version. I think the costumes and the sets are amazing in this version. I've done several versions at this point. I've been in my home studios, and then I was in the school for both Pittsburgh Ballet Theaters and San Francisco Ballet Theaters, Nutcrackers, before I joined here. And they're all so uniquely different, but this one's got, with the sets and the costumes and the choreography, it's great. It's such a fun version. So I've enjoyed slowly working my way up through it, and I really feel like I know this ballet front to back. Everybody does. You've done Nutcracker a million years, but I remember every role so vividly, from Reindeer to Snow King. So
That is awesome. And what about Naomi coming in?
Yeah, my first year here, I learned 8 roles and performed all 8 roles,
Wow.
which was a pretty big shock. And I remember, like, my brain more so than physically. I was having it was a hard process of learning everything. But I mean, I remember doing learning maid in party scene, and there's lots of little things you have to do, and you just like have to hold it the right way for Dross, so he doesn't have trouble, because Drossmeyer already has so much things to do. So like even just like little ways of holding props for him changes everything. So I just remember, like, Amanda, who's been a maid for years and years before me, and all the other maids were just like on the side helping me, telling me how to hold it and when to go on, and little tricks of things. And so I just it was so nice to have all the help from the company. And also the biggest thing, I got to learn Snow Queen my first year, which was such a big thing for me, because I had never done any featured role like that in Cincinnati or Ballet Arizona, or my past companies, and it was such a big role. I got to learn and perform, and I still, till this day, it's my favorite role I've done in my career, and it's great. I'm so happy to bring it to Kennedy Center and perform it there. I'm super excited.
All right. Well, yes, thank you. And before we go on to the next question, for anyone who has joined us a little late, we're here for a wonderful Nutcracker Dancer Chat. I'm Angela, and this is my husband, John Walker. We're huge fans of the Kansas City Ballet and these wonderful dancers. And we have Gavin Abercrombie, Naomi Tanioka, and Amanda DeVenuta, who probably have done almost every role in the ballet, and at least a lot of them. And we see a question in the dancer chat about the children, and we actually have that on our list, so we will get to that shortly. Thank you. And for the next question. I was going to be, and speaking of the Kennedy Center, that was a very good segue, Naomi.
Thank you. Appreciate
so much. You will be going to this Kennedy Center to perform the Nutcracker over the Thanksgiving weekend, 2 shows a day. And this is the second time, for those who don't know, that the Kansas City Ballet is performing it. They were there in 2017 and received rave reviews. The public loved it, and the Kennedy Center loves Kansas City Ballet, and they invited them back. And this is very exciting. So we'd like to ask, what, especially for Amanda and Gavin, but also we learned Naomi's been performed at the Kennedy Center with her previous company. What is it like to perform at the Kennedy Center for the first time in our nation's performing arts center? And then what does it mean to be going back? And we'd love to hear from you about that. And how about if you start, Naomi? You haven't started yet, so.
Oh my gosh, Kennedy Center is just incredible. It's this like huge theater. I can't even like explain how big it is. There's just like, I just remember my biggest shock was, so I went to Kennedy Center with Cincinnati Ballet, and with our theater in Cincinnati, the switch from battle scene to snow scene is just so hectic, and that there's just like all these sets that's coming off stage before snow scene to change into just this magical snow scene, and as a snowflake, you're so anxious to be backstage and be ready to go on stage, but you have to not be on the side of the stage at all. You have to be out the door, and otherwise you just get yelled at by all these people trying to get the set off the stage and change the scenery. And we went to Kennedy Center, and there's just enormous backside stage by the wing, so we can just be there and just prepare ourselves and worry about ourselves and not worry about the sets coming in your way and trampling you and get yelled at. So that was such an eye-opening moment, and I felt so grateful to have stage like that and be on it.
Yes. Okay.
And also just the massive audience and how the orchestra pit is so big. It's just like a whole different, you feel like you're in another country with all this like opera houses, it was, so I'm so excited to go back there and perform again.
Great. How about Amanda?
The first time we went there in 2017, I remember like standing on the stage. I think I was by myself. I usually am like very early and like the first one, like warming up or whatever. And I was standing on stage and I was like looking out, and the chandeliers are like so gorgeous when the house is filled with people. Here at the Kaufman Center, I feel like it's pretty well lit where you can like see some faces of audience members. But at the Kennedy Center, it's very dark when you look out, but then you just feel these like bright lights like from above on you. Like it feels like you're looking out into like an infinite galaxy or something, but you feel everybody, and it just feels so like grand and just amazing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going back and performing one of my favorite roles, which is Rose, at the Kennedy Center this time. I'm very excited.
Wonderful. And Gavin?
I'm also very excited to go. Obviously, this will be my second time. It's an amazing theater. It's like she said, it's huge, it's gorgeous. Like Amanda said, the feeling you get on stage is amazing. The first time we went, I did Party Parent, Mouse, and Mama G every show. So, not lying, I had a mask on minus Party Parent the majority of the time, so I didn't get the full feeling of being on Kennedy Center stage. I loved it. I mean, the touring, everything, it was an amazing experience. But selfishly, I'm very excited to go back and I'm performing Tea with Amanda, and I'm performing Snow Paw with Naomi. So
Wow.
on stage, I will be able to feel the lights Amanda described actually on my face. So
You'll be able to see him too.
yeah, exactly. You'll be able to see me too. So I'm excited to get back and do some more dancing. I'm very excited for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's great. And that brings us to our next question with Jice, with our first chat question.
We had a
Yes.
chat, somebody on the chat was asking about what it's really like to work with all the kids in the cast, right? So I guess, in Kansas City Ballet, it's mostly the local students that you guys work with, but of course at Kennedy Center, it's going to be a different group. But what is it like to work with all the children in the cast? And does it bring back any memories from like when you were in the, a kid in the Nutcracker?
Definitely.
How about Amanda? We're trying to take turns. It's hard to keep track.
That's okay. I vaguely remember when I was younger. It definitely sticks in your mind when a dancer is really nice to you and is warm and like welcoming, because when you're that little and you're in this sea of these professional dancers, it can be very intimidating and overwhelming. So I remember as a kid, there were a lot of dancers that were very, very genuine and warm. And that stuck with me. And now I hope that dancers that I communicate with feel that same energy from me. The little kids are so excited and like grateful to be there. They're full of life, which is great because like for us, I love Nutcracker, but obviously it is something that we do every year. And so sometimes that extra youthful energy is helpful when it's in the room, when it's like 5:30 p.m. and you're like in party scene or something, and then you just see how lit up they are. So it's pretty special.
That sounds great. Yes. And Naomi?
Yeah. The other day I walked past our wardrobe and saw the Claras getting their fitting.
Fittings.
And
Wow.
and I think it was just a fitting for them. I don't think they had a rehearsal after or anything, but these girls had all of their hair curled and just like be ready to be Clara in that moment. And that was like so heartwarming to see. All the kids are so excited to be in this production, and it makes it so much more enjoyable when these girls are just, it's their moment, and
Yes,
you want to make it good for them too. So
definitely.
And Gavin's with the mice, right?
That's right.
The little mice.
Little mice. No, I love having the kids there. I mean, it does get, especially near when we're getting closer to the theater and we have our one studio and we're just filled to the brim with everybody, it gets a little crazy in there. But it's worth it. I mean, Nutcracker was what I looked forward to the most. It was the one ballet I got to do every year. I loved it. And you kind of get the same feeling from a lot of these little kids. Like it's a big moment for them, it's it's the beginning of their like ballet experiences, and a lot of them absolutely love it. From, we have little girls and little boys that are like, they're little dolls. They like go out there and they stand there and they're doing it with 200% conviction, and it's adorable to, we have like some of the older girls in our school are the angels, and they're actually doing, dancing on point. And so there's like a wide range of kids, but they all love it, and it's such a big deal for them to get to go onto, Kaufman's stage, or that we'll be working with kids in DC that get a dance on Kennedy's stage as kids, which that would have been an experience. So I love having the kids. It does, like Amanda said, it makes it Nutcracker a little more. It reminds you why it is so magical. Because if you're doing, your 30th show, it's really easy to get into a rut, but seeing the kids makes it fun.
Oh, that's great. And I would excuse my glasses, but I need them to read. So thank you, Gayla McKinney, for that great question. And we have another question from Christina Wixel. She says that last year was my first year seeing Devon Carney's Nutcracker. I was so impressed with the comedic humor between certain characters. Would anyone care to comment about what you find interesting about this particular Nutcracker at KC Ballet? Yes.
Ooh, I have something good.
Go, Gavin.
So this is my first year learning Drosselmeyer, and what is a big thing. Drosselmeyer is an important character in all Nutcrackers, but it's taken me learning the role to really realize how much he does in this version. So he's on there
Almost the entire time.
like the entire time, and it is, once you start, you cannot miss a beat for a second, especially in first act. In first act, you're just going like a madman, and you know, a lot of it is, you have a lot of like comedic moments, a lot of, you know, not comedic, but a lot of these moments rely on working with props and working with other dancers. And, you know, props are notorious for never working the way you want them to. And that will really kill a punchline of a joke, especially if that's all that's happening on stage. So as far as comedic moments and stuff go, I'm learning with Drosselmeyer that, you know, I'm glad everyone's enjoying, like whoever left the comment, it is awesome that you enjoyed the show, because there's a lot that goes behind even like the silly moments that happen on stage. There's a lot of sweat and stress behind those silly moments and parts of it.
Definitely. How about Amanda and Naomi? Anything? I would say, if I could, the grandparents. Can you talk about the grandparents?
I was grandma 8 years ago when we opened this Nutcracker. I was like 21 years old, and they were like, "Grandma, it's for her." It's been fun, like, because honestly, you have to. So there's this part in Party Scene called the grandparents dance, where the grandpa says, "Come on, everybody, like, let's go dance." And we do this little thing, and then Drosselmeyer zaps us and basically allows our bones to like be flexible and young again. And it's been fun over the years, like, to like keep up with like the different like trends of dance moves and like just come up with silly stuff. I mean, I usually am laughing while I'm doing it. I don't know if people can see that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. How about Naomi? You've been grandmother, haven't you?
No,
Not yet.
We have not.
You
But-
will.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that would work. That would work.
I love watching my coworker come up with all the dances. It's like it never a not hit. It's always ends with laughter and all the claps. So yeah, it's a great part.
Great, it sure is. Well, thank you. We're going to go to one more question, then we'll go back to the chat questions. I wanted to bring up, when you return from the Kennedy Center, you have less than a week before you start right back in for 3 weeks of performances here at the Kaufman Center, and many days you will be doing 2 a day. And we know you all do multiple roles throughout the run. This is quite a grueling schedule for you guys. What do you do to keep yourself healthy, rested, and in top form? And I can guarantee for everyone, they're always in top form. Every performance is fabulous, but that doesn't come easy. And then just for Amanda and Naomi, can you give us an idea about how many pairs of point shoes you go through during the Nutcracker run? So why don't you start, Gavin, so then the ladies can talk about the point shoes.
Sure. Yeah. As far as like how I keep my body in shape and okay, I have my regular body maintenance ritual that I kind of continue. It goes throughout the season, and that's just, you know, like rolling out, massaging, Epsom salt baths, all that kind of thing, and that stays consistent. It's really just, it's mental a lot more than that. You get really tired really fast. Like knowing you have 3 double show days in a row is like extremely mentally taxing. Physically taxing, yes, but you know, we're all in great shape. We all physically are there as long as you're actually keeping your body working, but staying in a positive mindset throughout the month of December really is a game changer. If you can stay positive, you'll do great, like throughout Nutcracker. At least that's my mindset, and so far it's been working out well. But as far as point shoes and stuff goes, maybe I'm speaking from my point of view. I'm also not doing snow and flowers every show, so I'm speaking from a very limited point of view. These ladies obviously they do a different beast than Nutcracker. So yeah, the real nitty gritty, you might want to talk to these two ladies on.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Anybody?
So yeah, it's just like Gavin said, that there's like, like we have PT at the theater, and everyone has these like massage guns and like all these things, but like it's really just like taking it day by day and like focusing on each performances, and it's really just like all these like long runs of shows are just like willpower, just like push through. And a lot of the times, like I've like had like I've gotten a cold during shows before, but your body kind of just like keeps going, and the run finally finishes, and just like all of a sudden feel all this stuff that you were just like ignoring and like pushing through. But it's like your adrenaline kind of just like keeps going and like gets you through. So just like getting enough sleep every day, just trying to like fuel yourself all the time, and just have fun and keep going is the key to getting through the shows. And personally, for point shoes, I'm not very good example because I don't go through that many shoes. So I could go a whole Nutcracker production with maybe like between 5 to 10 pairs of point shoes, which is like very, very little for a lot of the girls, I think. But
What's Amanda laughing about?
I can use just like 2 pairs of shoes for Snowflake, just the whole like 30 weeks of snowflakes. So I don't go through shoes so often, but some girls will need a brand new pair of shoes every show, and that would be like 30 pairs of point shoes.
All right, and Amanda, somewhere in the middle, somewhat elevated. No, I'm just kidding.
I was giggling because I'm very similar to Naomi. We actually wear the same point shoes, I think. The wine glass maker. And I don't go through that many. I will have a pair for Sugar Plum that I just use for that, and I'll use it for however many shows I have of that role. Same with Rose. And then for all of the other parts, I can dance on a pretty dead shoe. So I maybe juggle like 2 or 3 pairs of point shoes for like doll, core, tea, marzipan now. So yeah, I usually maybe 5 pairs, 6 for Nutcracker, which is, yeah, like she said, very, very small amount. But yeah, then about getting through Nutcracker, I couldn't agree with Naomi and Gavin more. Like, it's just keeping your mind, body, and spirit like healthy and as much as you can, because like we have really late nights whenever we have these double show days. Like, I would love to be in bed by 9 p.m., but we're still performing. So just like whenever I get home, taking a bath, elevating, sleeping in as much as I can, trying to get like at least 7 hours, like minimum. And then I also try and take naps throughout the day. Like when we have these double show days, especially on Saturday when there's more time in between, I'll just stay at the theater and nap to kind of like reset and try and restart.
That sounds great. Yes. Well, thank you. And now we'll go to some of these great chat questions. One is, Amanda, did you play Rose in 2015? This is from Laura Muckerman. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I remember Rose's huge smile and that she seemed to be having the best time in the world. And I bet you did.
I do. I definitely do have the best time in Rose, but I actually don't think I didn't. I did Sugar Plum pretty early on, but it took a minute for me to do Rose. I think this is my 4th or 5th year doing Rose, so I don't think that was me in 2015, but I do have a big smile when I'm doing it.
Yes, you do. And Laura, I will say every one of the roses has been gorgeous, along with Amanda. It's just a beautiful role. Thank you. And then a question from, excuse my glasses again, Ruthie Bauman Vega. Do you have any advice for young performers? Back to our discussion about having the Kansas City Ballet students be part of the cast.
I would say just soak in everything you're given, everything you see, and don't ever lose the spark, and just enjoy dance every moment of your dance.
Yeah.
Well said. Anything else, Gavin or Amanda, on that?
Make sure you really enjoy the moments, like performing a Nutcracker and stuff. I mean, dancing even in the school when you're training, when you are professional, it's like a demanding job. It's hard. So make sure you don't let those just fly by. Like, soak in the moment, enjoy the moment. I mean, yeah, and if you love it, you'll enjoy that moment, and just stick with it. Yeah.
Great. And Amanda?
Both of what they said, I'm on board with. And also just be inspired as much as you can by the people around you. Like, it's so easy to compare yourself or say, oh, I wish I had better feet, or I wish I had better that. But take inspiration from every artist around you, but try to just be the best version of you, because everybody has something authentic to them to offer. So just remember that.
That's great advice for adults too, all of this. Right? John,
Can I do this
yes.
So one last question, I guess.
Getting close.
Getting close anyways. So this Nutcracker, this ballet itself is like 130 years old, but so what do you think what is it about this ballet that makes it so magical and such a beloved family tradition at the holidays? I mean, any thoughts on that?
It's just like tradition. I don't know, like there's something about like tradition and like family, like even like in the scenes, like in party scene, it's like families going to a holiday party, like it just kind of brings back, at least for me, like childhood memories. And also I feel like it's just a warm story for the Christmas season, even for people that don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's so magical. This little girl just, she just like experiences her like Joel becoming a real prince and going to a snowland and then going to a sugar land, and there's all these like different dances that are just different but also exciting, and she gets to come home at the end, and it's just such a magical ballet for all the young girls and young audience and for older audience to see, and it's such a heartwarming, nice winter story.
And Gavin, the Nutcracker is why you started dancing. So what do you think?
In my mind, Nutcracker was just another one of the things I associated with Christmas time. It was the same, like I always thought of it as a Christmas story, and it is a Christmas story. It happens at Christmas, but because I grew up doing that, and now that I've danced it so many years, it makes sense that it is. It's such like a fun fairy tale, whimsical story, but because of that, with what they can do with the sets, what they do with the dancing, it's such a good show to just be part of that like Christmas spirit. It's fun tradition. It's a great night where it's just, every little kid dreams, sugar plums dancing in their head and suddenly personified as this real beautiful sugar plum fairy. I think it embodies the Christmas spirit well, I think. I love it.
Definitely. And speaking of family, what are your family's reactions when they've watched you perform? And you've done many roles. So anything you could share about what it means to your family members to see you dance so beautifully in this iconic ballet?
So my parents has never seen Kansas City Ballet's Nutcracker, but my mom is actually coming to DC all the way from Japan, and she gets to see our Nutcracker for the first time and see me as Snowpaw, and so I'm so excited. It'll be so great.
That will be great. How about Amanda?
I'm very fortunate. My family moved to KC a couple of years ago. So before that, they didn't get to see me dance very often, but now they get to see me dance quite a bit. But I remember them coming to my first Sugar Plum show, and my mom was like in tears, and she was just so proud of me, and it was a very sweet moment.
Definitely.
Wow.
And Gavin, they saw your very first one, right?
So my mom was able to come out last year for the first time for Nutcracker. She'd been in to other shows with KCB, but she was able to come out for Nutcracker for the first time last year, and it worked out. For the weekend, she got to come. She got to see me perform my first Cavalier show.
Oh, wow.
Cavalier show with my partner Taryn. Shout out to Taryn. She's beautiful and amazing. And she also got to see me do Snowpaw with Naomi that weekend. So two of my leading roles in Nutcracker having to line up, and so she loves it. She's a great mom. Everything I do is suddenly her new favorite thing, but she loved it, and she also loved this version of Nutcracker too, and she's a Nutcracker pro as well. She's been seeing them all over, so it means a lot that she got to come and see it and see roles like this. Especially I'm fortunate I get to do Snowpaw with Naomi, so it's always that's a whole different like magical moment on stage. But it was cool that she got to see that as well.
Absolutely. And I think we need to wrap it up. I mean, we could talk all night, but you do need your rest because you're still rehearsing and going to be traveling on Sunday to DC. And then you'll be back after Thanksgiving. And for everyone on the chat and Facebook, thank you for joining us. We're so glad you could be here. And the Kansas City Ballet Nutcracker at the Kaufman Performing Arts Center will be December 7th through the 24th. That there are performances throughout, matinees, evenings, and we hope very much you all already have tickets, but if you don't, we have ours. We go to kcballet.org and your tickets are there, or the box office is fabulous. And they just call them and they will get you your tickets. And any like one sentence, last word, Amanda, Naomi, Gavin, about Nutcracker or anything. We'd like you to have the last word.
Love it.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Yeah,
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays to everybody. See you at the Nutcracker. And I think we're going off, right? We'll wave. Thanks to everyone.